for opening up. And I guess we'll play a few and then we'll talk.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
I was thirsty. I thought you might pour me a drink. 40 days in the desert, 'cause I needed time to think. I was lonely. I thought you might comfort me. 40 dreams of darkness I thought would make me see. And after all our nervous Monday morning glances, and after all our $1.99 romances, and after you had failed to save me, the sky opened up and forgave me. And it rained, a fallen angel in the night. And it rained, a promise of sunlight. And it rained, a prayer to a lost king. And it rained, the answer to everything. Now I'm empty, let the rain wash me down. Pretty soon the ice will melt and the birds will be back in town. Now I'm moving, but I got nowhere to go. Pretty soon you'll hear from me or see me at the show. And after all the times I spied on you undressing, and after all our tender conical caressing, and after you had failed to save me, the sky opened up and forgave me. And it rained, a fallen angel in the night. And it rained, a promise of sunlight. And it rained, a prayer to a lost king. And it rained, the answer to everything. Just one more Sunday that I had to see that nobody's really what they seem to be. And it so hurts my pride to get shut outside. And when I gave up all my high hopes for you, when I gave up all the things that I thought I knew, when I finally saw that nothing is true, I had nothing to say and nothing to do. And it rained, a fallen angel in the night. And it rained, a promise of sunlight. And it rained, a prayer to a lost king. And it rained, the answer to everything. Oh, the answer to everything. Yeah, come on in. You don't have to stand up in the hall.
Church rolls.
Hey, Yusuf.
Hey.
So, that tune we started off with is a real old tune of mine I wrote in 1992 with God Street Wine called Thirsty. And I'm going to play one right now that as Gary mentioned, I just came out with tomorrow I'm coming out with my first album in 16 years. Took some time off from music. But this is the first track on the new record, and it's called Nice Mama Number 4. Early in the morning and the sun's getting down, I'm packing my bag and out of this town. Hey, hey, I'm moving on. I won't live another minute inside these walls. The freight train whistles and the highway calls. Hey, hey, I'm moving on. Sorrow and shame, it'll always hurt a little when I hear your name, but for now, I'm moving on. And the story is over and the night game's played, let the sunshine in and the memories fade. Hey, hey, I'm moving on. And I know I could have done so much better. I never claimed I wasn't wrong, and you know I could have put this all in a letter, but I like the way it feels in a song. Well, we made some love and we had some fun, but it's good to know when a thing is done. Hey, hey, I'm moving on. And the streets are empty and the city is dead, and I'm gone already inside my head. Hey, hey, I'm moving on. And I know I could have done so much better. I never claimed I wasn't wrong, and you know I could have put this all in a letter, but I like the way it feels in a song. Well, I made some love and I had some fun, but it's good to know when a thing is done. I'm moving on. And the streets are empty and the city is dead, and I'm gone already inside my head. Hey, I'm moving on. So long, I'm moving on. Farewell, I'm moving on. I want to play you guys one, since I think there are a number of parents in the audience. So this is another one from my new record, and this is one I wrote for my son, he's 13 now, but I wrote it for him when he was 7. And he was kicked out of the first grade. Kicked out. Before I had a son kicked out of the first grade, I didn't even know you could get kicked out of the first grade, but you can. And it was a darn shame. You know, he was a difficult boy. They kicked him out. But he's an amazing child. He's doing good now, but he had some difficulties, you know, early on in life. And I wrote the song mostly just like in my head the afternoon that he was kicked out of school, kicked out of the first grade, and you know, it's just about how whatever he is to the rest of the world, to me, his dad, you know, is perfect. And it's also about how your kids, they keep changing. So, you know, the parents are just getting used to however you are at a certain age, and then boom, they're not like that anymore, right? There's something else. Once you think you've got it mastered, they turn into something else. By the way, my son doesn't play music. Both of my son and my daughter are visual artists. They never decided to follow in my footsteps, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But let's do this one, then we'll maybe answer some of the questions.
Sure.
All right. So this is called Perfect. Late at night, I climb the stair just to watch you sleeping there. Fix the blanket, touch your hair, hold your hand. Get a cup of water from the sink in case you need a drink. This love is what I think, my little man. You're perfect, I hope you never change. But I know you got to turn into something new, be what you are. Yeah, perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you must go on, shine, never rest, be my star. In the daylight, things move fast. You blink, and the day is past. But this love was built to last, my little friend. In your head sometimes a fire burns, and you get confused in all your twists and turns. But there's one who always learns in the end. You're perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you will. You're not made to stand still, but to run. Yeah, I'm perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you will. I'm just happy that you'll still be my son. Sometimes you wander, sometimes you're lost. Your car stalls out, your ship gets tossed. Hardly seems worth it to pay the cost of this circus ride. And you'll know laughter, you'll know loss. You'll be beaten down, you'll be the boss. We'll be together when we finally cross that ocean wide. You're perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you too turn into something new, be what you are. Yeah, perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you must go on, shine, never rust, be my star. Yeah, I'm perfect, I hope you never change. But I know that you will. You're not made to stand still, but to run. Yeah, I'm perfect, I hope you never change. but I know that you will. I'm just happy that you'll still be my son. So I'm going to introduce to you Tom Perosi, Old TP. He has in the past gone by the nickname Whiskey Tom, but that's, you know, we're not, that's a thing of the past. That's totally in the past now, so we're not doing that. And Tom grew up in upstate New York, and he went to college in Plattsburgh, New York, where he hooked up with his longtime band, the Ominous Seapods. I first met Tom as the bassist of Ominous Seapods, and we played many shows together back in the 90s. And then Tom was in my band, the Low Favor Band, for about a year. We produced a musical together. And then in the last few months, we've been playing a bunch of shows just like this as a duo, guitar and bass. And we play some of my old songs and some of my new songs. And that really brings us right up to the present.
Right here, right now.
Yeah. You have anything you want to say at this point?
No. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And we were told that you had some questions. And
I have a bunch of questions on my phone, so if nobody raises their hands, I'm going to just go to the questions on the phone, but it'd be more...
Where's our band members?
Yeah.
Raise your hand, band members.
Yeah, raise your hand if you are a musician student at this school. Okay.
A lot of hands.
Raise your hand if you're a parent, or grandparent, or other caregiver, as they say.
yeah, I'll add in, by the way, that I teach at a school very similar to this back near Albany where I live. So this is very comfortable for me.
Who wants to start us off with a question?
Yeah, no one?
So this is anybody brave enough? Why don't you guys
Everyone.
stand up when you're ready?
Yes.
Brave enough?
Over there,
How long have you two been doing this?
have we been doing this?
Yeah.
Well, pretty long, because you can tell we're really old. So I started off, my mom was in a bluegrass band. She played mandolin in a bluegrass band when I was a kid, and so I started off playing nothing but bluegrass when I was 8 years old. And I'm 53. So I've been playing music for 45 years. And so that's quite a while. And how long have I been? I've been doing it professionally since I was in my early 20s. So I started my band, God Street Wine, in college. I actually dropped out of college to do my band and go on the road with my band, and we started making a living pretty early on from it. So we were lucky in that way, because a lot of bands don't manage that, but we did. And so, you know, I did that in my 20s and 30s, and then I took some time off to become a college professor, but now I'm doing it again. What about you, TP?
Well, I actually started in the school band, trumpet, then saxophone, and then I played guitar. I just kind of taught myself guitar, and switched to bass in college. Actually, I discovered there was a great need of bass players where I was going to school, so I bought a bass one day and joined the band the next day, and then I just fell in love with the bass, so I played that ever since. And yeah, so about the same, 40 plus years of playing music.
Yeah, it's really... We don't want to think too hard about that, actually.
Yeah, no.
No.
How did you get to the point that music is what you get to do all the time?
I feel like that question was prepared in advance.
And we actually talked about this on the way here.
Yeah, I think that, see, Gary emailed us some of the questions. So we, driving down from New Jersey last night, we talked about some of them. And the sad fact, Noah, is you never get to that point. Nobody gets to that point. It would be a great point to get to if you just could do music all the time. but nobody gets to that point. You know, even no matter how famous and successful you are, you have to do other stuff in life. And there's always, I don't want to use the word that I was going to use, there's always nonsense.
Yeah, and there's business too, because it's a
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So half your time is on the phone or computer, just dealing with the logistics.
Dealing with your business. Yeah. And so is that a disappointing answer, Noah?
But you can get to a point where you spend a lot of time
Yeah.
doing music. We're both very lucky
Yeah.
that we did get to that point. And, you know, somebody else, I'll jump ahead for a second, somebody else asked what you have to sacrifice if you want to have music be your kind of career. And, you know, there is certain sacrifices because it's not a high-paying job unless you're like one of the 0.0001% that gets to the level of, you know, yeah.
If you, I mean, this is, so I taught college students about music and the music business. And I always told them, you can get rich in music, but you're probably not going to. And if music, if money is your number one thing, which is fine, that's totally fine, just be aware of it. If money is your number one thing, I recommend investment banker, corporate lawyer, or maybe entrepreneur if you're really good at that, but not music. If you should be in music if you can't imagine yourself doing anything else. If you're just desperate to do it and you're not happy unless you're doing it,
Yeah.
that's when you should be in music. Well, then you know what to do. How old are you? You're 10, what do you play? Right on.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff about it. I don't mean to focus on just money, but yeah, getting to play music is a beautiful thing, and you have to wake up every day still loving to play music. And then, you know, you also, it helps if you like to travel because you're probably going to be traveling around a lot and being in different places, which, you know, I love, and I think Lo probably loves that too. But sometimes you miss home, and that's another thing about sacrificing. You have to sacrifice not being home all the time, whatever that may entail, marriage, kids, and all that. You can do those things, but you just have to find a way to fit them in.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Lauren.
It's not really questions, it's more like a statement. You guys did very amazing on your songs, and it made me tear up at the last one.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What is your name?
Lauren.
Lauren, thank you.
Yeah, you guys did really well, and I'm a musician myself, and
What do you play?
marimba, djembe, maracas, drum set, ukulele, and then I sing in different languages. So.
Cool. Wow.
Sorry.
Very talented.
Well, thank you so much for that.
We have time for some more questions?
Of course, yeah, we got nothing but time.
Good.
How about Nate?
Nate.
What is it like to hear a lot of fans cheering for you at performances?
What is it like to hear what, Nate?
A lot of fans cheer for you.
Oh, it's terrible. We hate that. No, of course, it's great. It's a beautiful thing. You know, the thing is that you don't actually get what we're doing right now is not most of the day. You know, for a lot of musicians, this is the best 90 minutes of their day, and then they have to deal with the rest of the time. You know, but no, of course, everybody likes to be applauded. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you for your applause. We really appreciate it.
But you don't want to go into it just for that. I'll warn you that right now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that is kind of like, if you get applause, you just want more applause. So, so you have to love the music first, and then the applause is, and the
And you face a lot of rejection too.
oh yeah, yeah.
You're gonna have some rejection, even if you're great. You know, you gotta. That's the downside. The applause is the upside, and sometimes you have the bad side, the rejection. You can't be too sad about that. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta be like, oh, well, they didn't like it. That's cool. What else? What else you got? Yeah, over there.
What bands did you like growing up?
Oh, good question. Another thing we were talking about yesterday, because we both grew up in the 70s, and this, as the parents here know, the 70s were just an amazing time for rock. So much great music. And I love the Beatles. I mean, so I told you I started off playing bluegrass. So I played bluegrass for a long time, but then when I was a teenager, the Beatles were it. Grateful Dead, Rolling Stones, and you know, Pink Floyd, Genesis, all that great 70s rock, Allman Brothers. I don't know, I could go on and on, but that's a good list. What about you, TP?
That's pretty much my list too. You know, grew up on classic rock, and the you know, I was telling Lo, we used to sit by the radio and listen to the top 40, Casey Kasem's top 40. Me and my sisters every week. That would be part of our week.
I just took my son, the same one the song is about, to see Bad Company and Leonard Skinner. And now my son is really into 70s rock. It's 70s rock will never die, man. What do you guys up for listening to a few more songs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do some more questions later.
If you think of any questions, you know, while we're playing a song, raise your hand. I'll see you, and I'll remember to call on you. I'm good like that. I'm gonna pick up my electric guitar.
We'll get to you in a sec. Well, actually, why don't you ask your question while he's
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you write music? I mean, my brother would rather write music by writing the music first and writing the lyrics last. How would you do it?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'll answer first. There's kind of no set way. For me, sometimes it's one way than the other. Sometimes it's just playing the acoustic guitar.
I mean, I meant like the lyrics and song at the same time, but think of the title last.
Oh, the title. Title, yeah, that is,
That's what my brother would rather do. Do the title last.
I'm sensing that you don't agree with your brother.
They're in a band together.
Oh, okay, so even, that's
I
even
wanted to
worse.
say that. Me, my brother, and my dad. He's right there. My brother.
What's your band? What's your band?
My band's name is The Woodpeckers.
oh, nice.
Okay.
Check the YouTube channel.
And have you written any songs?
Yeah, 2 at the moment. We're working. We got one down, Best of Me, and we have to work on See the Sun a bit more.
Cool.
See the sun.
And did you write the lyric? Did you write the words first or the music?
Well,
Just
now my
title.
brother's going with how I do it. Make the title first.
The title first. That's interesting. How about you, though?
You know, I think that sometimes I just come up with one line where it's like the words and the music at the same time, and then I build everything else around it. Like, you're perfect, I hope you never change. You know, that one little bit right there. You know, I got music and words, and like
And
that's
a
the
title.
concept of a song. And so, you know, some people call it a hook. Like if you have a little line that's got a nice melody to it, you build a whole song around that. You can even have a hit, make a lot of money, and I hope you do one day.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's play All Systems Clear?
Sure.
All right. Do I have a story about this one? This is one that was a God Street Wine song, and we recorded it for an album that never got released. So that's kind of a sad story. But that can happen. You know, you can make a record and the company doesn't put it out. But, you know, I still got the song. We still play it live. And I just found out there's this young woman in upstate New York who covers it. So it's called All Systems Clear. trying to make it plain. You say it's cold out and it's snowing. We're bending low beneath the pain. So leave it on the dark highway. There's no solutions anyway. Leave it all behind. Empty out your mind. 'Cause we will drive out across the Rocky Mountains. We'll arrive at the Humboldt County shore. And we will dive in the cool Pacific Ocean. Wide awake, no fear. All systems clear. Tracy sings while she's driving. She won't let me take the wheel. She only worries about surviving. She's got nothing left to feel, and nothing left to cry about. No time to scream and shout, stretched out in the sun. Her life just begun. 'Cause we will drive out across the Rocky Mountains. We'll arrive at the Humboldt County shore. And we will dive in the cool Pacific Ocean. Wide awake, no fear. All systems clear. systems clear. All systems clear. All systems clear. All systems clear. Thank you. So you ready to sing one?
Oh, sure.
We're gonna have old TP sing one. Oh, we have a question first, right down here.
So, when you get up on stage and like you're in front of the big crowd, how does it like feel?
Well, it feels pretty darn exciting. Yeah. You know, I think that we both enjoy that a lot. And you might be a little nervous about it too. But a little nervousness is okay because it adds to the energy of the performance. Does that make sense? Yeah. You agree?
I totally agree, yeah.
Yeah. Some people get real nervous, and they probably shouldn't be on stage for their, you know, if you hate being on stage, it's probably a bad sign for your career as a musician, you know. There were some bands back in the 70s, like Steely Dan, that decided to never play live. They just made records. That's harder to do nowadays. But, you know, most musicians kind of really dig performing, and it's fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a tune that TP wrote and played with Ominous Pods, and it's called It's Good to Be Alive.
Yeah, this is one about talking about lyrics and music that my band, Ominous Seapods, had just driven all night, because sometimes we had to do that. We'd play one show and then drive all night to go to the next place or something. And driven all night, and I couldn't sleep because I was the one driving. And so I was just stuck, still wide awake from having coffee and being up all night. And I just started writing in my journal before any music really came out. It was just
You were writing in your journal while you were driving?
No. This is after I got home. I still couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep while driving.
Just making sure.
But when I got home and laying in bed trying to sleep but couldn't, I just started writing, and then these words just kind of came out, and then I put music to them later.
All
And
right.
it kind of came out like all these little different jumbles, which I can trace back to, oh yeah, I wrote that because I was hanging out with this person, and I wrote that because of something that happened last week, and you know. Ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Finished up the weekly rounds, brushed aside the dust, check inside for aging signs, early spots of rust. Well, time is ticking from me, but time is all I've got. The outer shell won't crumble till the inside starts to rot. Tried to fly to Utah, got caught up in the rain. Pilot sleeping in the cockpit, he's worn out from the game. Well, 60 hours of driving will land us on the path. If we don't give up all we've got, it's all we'll ever have. It's good to be alive for a change. It's good to be alive for a change. Pass across the table, try another hand. If we don't catch all 15, this thing may never land. We'll each pull up the handle, we'll take another leap. This may be a false alarm, the next may be for keeps. It's good to be alive for a change. 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 good as it gets. Baby, that's all there is. Baby, that's as good as it gets. Baby, that's all there is. Baby, that's as good as it gets. Baby, that's all there is. But it's good to be alive for a change. It's good to be alive for a change. Well, if you lay upon me, I'll keep you off the floor. Sleep a little longer, I'll stay up some more. You found me in the dark streets, you led me to my door. Well, I am not your hero, and we are not at war. It's good to be alive for a change. 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 It's good to be alive.
Good songs. Yeah. Yeah. You want to do a cover?
Sure.
Well, oh, I know what we can do. Let's do Enlightened Rogue.
Okay.
We're gonna do another ominous Sea Pods tune that I'm gonna sing. This is one of my all-time favorites. It's called Theme for Another Enlightened Rogue. That golden armchair hasn't called me yet. I'm too young. I can hardly feel the way the dream keeps me numb. That's how I'm hypnotized by things that are so obscure. Where there's a will, there's a way. My mama told her only son. I can't be told that it's all been done. I can never embrace what's already gone. I'm not afraid of this old world anymore, but I still have lots to learn. I'm pretty far from being the Messiah. To you I would never lie. I've hit the pavement pretty hard now, so little obscure. I can't be told that it's all been done. I can never embrace what's already gone. Round and round rotates the globe, but the sun always returns. No amount of empty bottles could help me see what's inside. All the women that I've loved, I can still see their traveling eyes. Their minds set on faraway places, only one remains behind. She's quick to turn a soldier into a king, a man of petty ransom, but his heart knows how to sing. So, yeah. Well, we're happy to take some more questions, and I know that Gary might have one or two, and also the parents are welcome to ask questions as well if you have any questions.
I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you, and this just occurred to me, okay?
Sure.
And I haven't thought it through myself, but would you consider learning to read music as learning a whole different language as a way to communicate in a whole different way?
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, it is a different language. It is a language. It's a written language. And I think the issue of learning to read music is a very problematic one for people who play pop and rock and commercial kind of music, because the written notation system was developed for classical music, and it's very friendly to classical music. And what we do isn't necessarily always easily captured in notation, and so it's great to be able to read and be a good sight reader, but I think if I was, as far as young people who are learning to play right now, I'd much rather they have a great ear than be good sight readers. I think it's more useful to develop your ear than your sight reading ability. Although there's a lot to be gained from reading, no question. But I know many musicians that are classically trained who are real good readers, and their ears don't develop as much as a result.
Well, let me ask you another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So your mom was a man that played a bluegrass band, and you
That's right.
started playing.
Not anymore. She was when I was young.
Yeah, but you started playing when you were 8, okay? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So you probably learned by ear first, by picking up things from your mom, maybe? Y'all played
Yeah,
together, she showed you some
absolutely.
things?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I learned to read because I taught myself piano by sight reading Scott Joplin's The Entertainer and learning the notation system one note at a time. But I'm a freak, so don't pay attention to that.
I actually totally agree with you about the playing by ear. Because when I started out, I went to my mom, and then I learned by playing guitar with other friends, but I also took piano, but I felt like I got a lot more. But it helps you develop. So, you start off maybe like learning to read music, but then you get to skip, like the little girl over here who wanted to know if you write the lyrics first or done the music. I think if you have that innate thing, that it's going to come out anyway. I don't know what I'm trying to say, I'm just trying to. I think they're both important, but like you, I think playing by ear gives you a sense.
Absolutely. And the music that we play, if you play bluegrass, if you play rock, if you play country, it's always based on an ensemble and listening to each other, and just being able to read music on a page will never cut it. You need to listen as well. You have anything to add to that?
No, I would just add that the whole thing's the language. Just like language, sometimes you speak it, sometimes you read it, sometimes you write it, sometimes you just listen to it. So all skills are good to have, but probably, listening is the biggest skill of all, which is about ear developing.
Like learn songs by ear on your instrument. Learn whatever your kind of music is that you listen to the tracks and try to pick it out note by note on the guitar or piano. That's a great thing to do.
And it strengthens you. I mean, if you guys are playing music now, that gives you something that maybe some other people don't have, okay? And it helps you think, and it helps you create. Does that make sense?
And that's something I see a lot now with my students. They go right to YouTube or to tabs online to learn a song.
Oh, terrible.
And it's
Don't do
really,
it.
it's really good to try to learn it yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have a hard time, start with something really simple. Start with a Christmas song or a nursery rhyme or something, and just try to learn the notes on your own, and then maybe check it with online or with the teacher or whatever, see if you got it right. But if you just immediately go to learn on by having tabs online, which is the way guitar and bass is sometimes written, or a YouTube person showing you, you're not going to develop your ears in the same way.
Yeah. I would not let my college students use the internet chords.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them are wrong too.
Oh
You
yeah.
find a lot of
That's
wrong
another
words on
problem.
there. So stay away. What else? Yeah.
So I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So I have a trouble with a band that I'm doing here, that I'm singing for. So how would you connect to a song if you don't have any?
Oh, this was in our list of questions. Are you the Rocket Man guy? Okay.
Yeah.
Great question.
What's your name?
Case.
Casey. So you're singing Rocket Man,
Yeah.
and you're having a hard time like connecting to it. So in what way are you feel like? Is it technically hard? Can you not hit the notes in the melody, or is it like more of what the song is about?
Yeah, more of what the song is about.
I mean, it's about an astronaut. So, yeah, you're not an astronaut. Yeah, chime in, because I got nothing.
Well, the thing is, you try to find something that you do connect to in the lyrics. Like, do you know what a metaphor is?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to think literally being an astronaut. You can think about, you know, maybe feeling a little isolated sometime in your life, or feeling alone or something, and then you maybe came back to feeling really good again. And how did that feel to make that transition from kind of feeling like, oh man, nobody understands me at all. I'm like just an astronaut in outer space, you know, as opposed to feeling really good and accepted. And if you can maybe try to find some kind of link like that, you know, because I play in a lot of bands, and sometimes I have to play songs I don't really like all that much, you know, which is just part of it. But I find something in the song that I like, whether it's a lyric or a certain way the chords change, or just the way I lock up with the drummer, you know, something. I can always find something in every song, like that I relate to, and that's an important skill. If you're going to keep playing music, you're going to sometimes run into that. So, yeah.
It's rarer and rarer these days for people to make their career mostly singing other people's songs. You know, that used to be like a big thing. And so Frank Sinatra never wrote a song. He made his kind of singer, someone else wrote the song. He was just a singer, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and in today's world, it's like the pop divas like Celine Dion, you know, they still do that. But for most people, like most of my students in college, they want to write their own songs and sing their own music. So singing other people's music is unfortunately not as often done, and I say unfortunately because it's great for you musically to figure out. You know, Rocket Man, great song, lots of people love it. So as the vocalist, I would look at it like I'm trying to work with this and figure out what's great about it, how I can make it work, what are the challenges in it. It's just it's about learning for you at this point. In the long run, you might not sing Rocket Man, you're going to sing your own music, or you're going to choose cover tunes that feel more you. But when you're doing it as an exercise to learn, to grow, you know, just look at it like that. That's what I would say.
Did that
Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. And also, which do you think is better? I kind of want to hear both of your sides, bass or guitar.
Better to play, or just better as an instrument?
Yeah.
I love playing bass. I play bass too, and TP also plays guitar. So, you know, it's just kind of like if you end up in a band, then you have your role, and you get better on that instrument. And so, you know, I play piano. I usually write songs more on piano than on guitar. And I love to play bass because when you play bass, you get to kind of guide the groove and control the band. But if you're a singer, bass is hard because, you know, it's tough to play one thing rhythmically and sing something else. Whereas if you're playing guitar or piano, often what you have to do to accompany yourself is simpler. So, you know, some people pull it off. Sting was great, but it's hard to be a bassist and a vocalist at the same time too.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think obviously they're both great instruments, and like I said, I play both of them, but sometimes you find what really just suits you the best. And for me, in a band, just bass just suited me best. I discovered as soon as I played it. But I still love playing guitar because I'll sit at home. Bass isn't as much fun just to sit by yourself and play always, but guitar is a lot of fun to just write songs or just sing songs or whatever. So they're both great.
The world is filled with a lot of guitar players. So, you know, if you're looking at finding work, play anything but guitar. You know.
And playing a lot of instruments is a great thing.
Both of you guys in the back, who wants to go first?
How much do you practice daily?
How much do you practice daily? Well, some days not at all. I do practice most days, and I practice my voice more than my guitar playing. I really do at least 30 minutes of voice and warm-ups and exercises every single day, and then I usually sing just songs for at least half an hour every day. And I usually play guitar, banjo, or piano, or lap steel for another hour or so every day. So I probably spend a minimum 2 or 3 hours every day playing music. When I was in college, when I was really working it up, I had this practice journal, and I wouldn't go to bed until I'd spent 12 hours practicing every single day. And that was 2 years, 2 full years. I was 20 and 21, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
So that was really when I became a musician, I think.
Well, I never practiced 12 hours a day. But, there were times when I definitely practiced a lot, and I still do, because you always, the thing about music is you never get as good as you're going to, be like, oh, I'm good now. I don't have to practice anymore. There's always something more you can learn, whether it's a different instrument or voice or a different style on the instrument you play, or just getting better. So, yeah, I still practice as much as I can, and it just depends what else I'm doing at the time. If I'm in a van driving all day, then I can't practice much.
Yeah.
So like you just started like playing music, so either now or like 16 years ago, how like on average how much did you make like money?
What was the question?
On average, how much money do we make, did you say?
Oh,
Yeah.
not nearly enough. Making money in the music world is another conversation.
It's only downhill from there.
I did at one point make a lot of money all of a sudden from music. At other times I've been real happy to just make a living. And other times I've been unable to even really make a living. So it's ups and downs, and you never quite know where it's going to come from. But I will say, I think it's easier to make a life in music than many people imagine. Not easy, I wouldn't say it's easy.
Well, you have to be willing to do other things.
But nothing is easy, that's the thing. It's just being an adult, supporting yourself, getting a job, it's not easy, whether it's music or some other job. It's not easy, man.
But if you're going to do music, it might accompany things like teaching lessons at a place like this, or owning a place like this, or different kind of ways you find to make money, and that's just being creative, really.
But again, don't do it for the money. If you want the money, invest in it. But I grew up in New Jersey, so I have a lot of friends who work on Wall Street, and they make a lot of money. And they would have Lexuses and swimming pools. Every time they'd see me play